So today we're going to demonstrate to you yung capabilities of QGIS. Basic rundown of what how we're supposed to use QGIS with respect to our applications for this semester. Okay, so our focus for today is utilizing Landsat data with a emphasis on the basic band combination of your multispectral radiances. So just a brief recall. So if you have a digital image coming from a remote sensing platform, they do not provide a single image. They usually provide several images of for a specific color band. Okay. So for example, we have a digital image like this. We have here are the terms that we're going to use now. First one is the term bands. So the term bands refers to the color, okay, of your data, of your multispectral of data. So if your remote sensing data or remote sensing platform provides you multispectral, so you have several bands. So the platform gets takes an image of your target at different color bands or spectral bands. Okay. So for example, in this case, this remote sensing platform has four bands, so it will give you bands one, two, three, four. And of those one, two, three, four bands, it has two dimensions. It has rows and columns. So the number of rows and the number of columns pertains to the resolution, to the pixels, the number of pixels that it provides. Okay, so for example, in this case, okay, in this in this example, this remote sensing platform contains 25 bands. It has four it has sorry, it has 20 pixels because it has four rows and 25 columns. So for each pixel, it has an assigned value. That assigned value for that specific band pertains to the brightness. Okay, so for example, in this case, the the radiometric resolution of this remote sensing platform is 8 bits. So that means each pixel for each band, it will have values that would range from 0 to 255, or it will have 256 values. Okay. So if that's absolute value, so that's 0 to 256. But if it's normalized to 1, so this is 0 to 1 with increments of 1 over 256. So in this case, each value here pertains to the brightness of the brightness of the pixel at a specific value or at a specific band. And it has an associated grayscale image. So this is very important. The the identification of the four bands that is used that the remote sensing platform will use will depend on its application. Okay, so as you already know, different targets generally have different reflectances. So if bands one, 2, 3, and 4 pertains to the blue, green, red, and near infrared color, so that means each band will look different, okay? Because of the fact that each object or each item in the target will have a different brightness at different bands. So for example, these are the three bands. So we have the green band, the red band, and the near infrared band. So as you will notice here, the green band doesn't look green, the red band doesn't look red, but you can see near infrared. Okay, but using visible range, visible eyes, using our visible uh, using our vision, human vision, you cannot see it in near infrared. But here is the image of a near infrared band for this specific target. As you will notice here, for the green band, these areas are bright, meaning white, than this target. It is emphasized at the red band, wherein here it's still white, but here, if you can still, if you can see my, I don't know, if you can see my cursor, this area is darker in the red band. So what does it mean? It means that for this specific target, it emits lesser red than green. But if we're going to look at the near infrared band, the previously bright areas for the green and red band becomes dark, and then the previously darker areas in the green and red band becomes brighter. Okay, so that means this area that used to be dark in red and green now shows a brighter area. That means it emits larger. Okay, that means it emits larger or brighter near infrared than the surrounding areas. So if we're going to use this simple information and this graph, we can see that of the three among the three items here, sand, mangrove, and water, we can see that in the green band, okay, sand it emits higher, okay, brighter green band than mangrove and water. Okay, but in the red band, the mangrove emits fewer or lower red than green, but it emits large amount of near infrared compared to blue, green, and red. So you will notice here that this must be a mangrove area. Okay, and as you will notice here, as the wavelength becomes longer from blue to green to red to near infrared, water emits lower reflectances, as you will notice here. So this area surrounding it must be water. Eh sir, bakit hindi makita yung sand? Well, probably because sand is below the water. So the water would overcome the reflectances than sand because sand is underwater. Okay, so that's the basic idea. Now, as you can recall, again with the focus of on Landsat systems, so there have been 9 Landsat missions. Currently, we have the ongoing missions are Landsat 8 and 9, which has a more advanced spectral uh, sensors. So it has a total of 11 sensors. It has a blue, two blue, then we have green and we have a red. Then we have a near infrared. Then we have a mid infrared, long infrared, and long wavelengths. So there are a lot of wavelengths in the near infrared and in the long wave infrared. And this, as I mentioned before, these are chosen to I don't know to match your atmospheric transmission. Okay, because if we're going to place a sensor somewhere here, okay, it will not get any data because the atmosphere will absorb all those light and it will not penetrate the atmosphere. Therefore, it will not hit any target. So these are the 9. Landsat 6 and 7 has 8, and Landsat 4 and 5 has 7. And the first series of Landsats, Landsats 1 to 3, have four wavelets only. Okay. So this is the for the newer ones, Landsat 6 and 7, and then Landsat 8 and 9. There are several types of um, payloads or sensors. Of course, you have the Enhanced Thematic Mapper Plus. So that is for the whole Landsat 6 and 7. Landsat 8 and 9 has um, two separate imagers or sensors. You have the operational land imager or OLI. So this has two blues, one green, one red, one near infrared, three mid infrared, and one panchromatic. Panchromatic is this one, number 8. And then aside from the OLI sensor, it has a separate thermal infrared sensor. It's thermal infrared sensor. It has two far infrared or FIR. That's bands 10 and 11. Okay. So each band has a specific use. So currently, it has been brought to the news, or announced in the news that the Landsat 7 has been decommissioned last 3 days ago. That's June 4, 2025. It has a lifetime. It has a mission life of about 26 years. Okay, it collected over 3.3 million images, which is equivalent to 1,900 mission days with over 130,000 orbits around the Earth. So that means it has traveled for about 1.6 billion kilometers, okay, in its mission life of 26 years. Okay, but it doesn't mean that the data from Landsat 7 is not available anymore. It's just it will not get more data after from June 4 and above and um and beyond. So if you would like to get more updated data, you can only use Landsat 8 and 9. So where are the Landsats now? So let's look at the where the Landsat, let's say Landsat 8 is located. So this website is a free website where you can actually track space objects, okay, across the globe. So for example, here is the location of Landsat 8. We are in this area. We are in the sunlit side of the Earth. So where is Landsat 7 right now? So let's look at that. Oh, here. Andito na siya ngayon. Landsat 8 is actually orbiting around the Antarctic region. Okay. And it's approaching the South American orbit. Okay. So this is now the location of Landsat 8. Okay. So if you would like to know um, where they are right now, you can actually look at this website and see where those satellites are. Okay. So just a small trivia for you. Okay. So this is an example of the data that we're going to get today. Okay. Um, so this will be we're going to get data from the Glovis website, operated by the United States Geological Service. So they have a repository. They are a repository of satellite images. Um, Here we can get Landsat data. No? So this is an example of that interface wherein we can see two Landsat images. So ito yung path niya. So you're already familiar with the row at saka yung kanyang column, no? Ay pass. So meron siyang identified, yung WRF, path and row. So itong highlighted area by red border is the image of Mindoro Island. Okay. And then previously, that's the image of Southern Luzon. This is Taal Volcano Island. This is Laguna de Bay. Here is National Capital Region, Manila Bay. This is Bataan Peninsula, Cavite area, Batangas area, Laguna, etc. Okay. So if you're going to look at uh, okay, I'm going to look at the metadata of this data. So when we say metadata, that's the information about the data that we're going to use. So this is the Landsat product. So LC8 means, so this is the whole date. This is the whole file. This is LC8, that's a Landsat 8. And then we have the acquisition date here. So the acquisition date is 2013, April 25. This one. Okay, and it has been updated in 2017, May 5. Okay, so the path of this red area is 116, and then the row is 50. Okay, and it has a land cover of about 25%. So that's very important, no? Kasi we have to know, okay, we have to know when the percent land cover, no? Because if you're going to look at land cover, of course, that supposed area must have low contamination of clouds. So we're going to use land cover as a filter when getting data. Okay, so this is the Earth Explorer of Glovis. So basically, this is what we're going to use, but they have updated, no? They have already updated the interface. So we're going to show that, I'm going to show that to you later on. Okay, but before we going to the actual demonstration, let me just going to show you ano yung expectation natin. Okay, so as I mentioned before, so if you have a multispectral remote sensing image, that means you're going to get several images for different bands. So for example, this is NCR area with a lot of additional info, no, a lot of additional areas as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so for Landsat 8, let me just adjust my screen. Okay, so for Landsat 8, it has 11, okay, 11 bands, okay, with corresponding wavelength bands and some description of the use of those bands. Okay, so for example, for coastal aerosol, so we're going to look, we use that for coastal and aerosol studies. For the blue band number 2, we can use that for bathymetric mapping from distinguishing soil from vegetation and deciduous coniferous vegetation. Green and red, we want to use that to emphasize peak vegetation, which is used for assessing plant vigor. Red is for discriminating vegetation slopes. Near infrared is to emphasize biomass content and shorelines, and etc. etc. So for the short infrared, that's basically for moisture content. Panchromatic is for sharper image definition, it's a 15 meters resolution. Okay, but for thermal infrared or far infrared, band 10 and 11, that's it has a 100 meter resolution. It's basically used for thermal mapping and estimation of soil moisture. Okay. The number nine, cirrus, is used to improve detection of thin clouds in cirrus clouds that contaminates your data. So basically, this band is used to do additional post-processing that aims to reduce cloud contamination of the data. Okay, so for this specific data that we're going to use, which I mentioned earlier, again, this is obtained, yeah. So we're going to show you some images that has been acquired last 2021, February 26, using Landsat 8. Okay, if you can see, okay, if you can see it here now. So this is Landsat 8, acquired 2021, February 26. Okay, so this is the um, colorized image. If we're going to look at the bands, this is for band 1. So this is what a band looks like, band 1. So this is, okay, band 1. This is band 2. You can see the difference. So not much difference. So if you can adjust your screen brightness, so mas makikita nyo na. You can see a little bit clearer, no, the difference between band 1 and band 2. But we expect that there's not much difference because they have very similar wavelengths. We go to green, you will notice, no, okay, the green thing change. Then red, some areas brightened, some areas darkened. So that already gives us an idea, no? What are those things? Near infrared. So as mentioned, as expected, areas of vegetation would be brighter in infrared. Short infrared, 1. Short infrared, 2. This is thermal infrared, 1. Okay. So this is the, I don't know, a composite image, sorry, a collection of the images of bands 1 to band 8, okay, which pertains to these bands. Okay, so you will notice here, band 5 is the infrared, so it's very bright. Then band 3, although what we can see, if we're going to look at an area of vegetation, it appears green, and it doesn't appear in the infrared because alam naman natin, we already know that we cannot see infrared. Okay.